out there? This is Heath, and this is Frontier Survival coming back with you with another episode. Today we're going to talk to you a little bit about urban survival and what it takes to survive in a city if some type of natural disaster, man-made disaster happened. If you stay tuned towards the end, I have a true story to tell you about a happening in March 2012 that has to do with urban survival. So stay tuned towards the end and you'll hear a little true story about the area I live in. But first things first, I'll give you the definition of urban survival right now, and it is the ability to survive in a populated area when natural or man-made disasters break down civil order and basic utilities. Yes, I did take me some notes. No problem with that, is there? But like I said, the ability to survive in a populated area when natural or man-made disasters break down civil order and basic utilities. The grid could go down. You could have riots in the streets. I mean, just numerous things can happen. Now, some of the things that the attributes a person should have when they're in an urban environment and survival situation happens. You want to be able to have situational awareness. Situational awareness. Now, that's something that was always drove into my head when I used to work out on the river. And I used to work out on the river, and situational awareness was something we always had in the back of our mind, in the front of our mind, and on the sides of it, because it was always drilled there. And it's a good thing to know. And it's just pretty much always kind of looking around you, looking at the situation, being aware of what's around you and being as prepared as you can possibly be. Being self-reliant is another thing. You're not going to be able to rely on a lot of people out there during a survival situation. So be able to rely on yourself, being prepared, having a go bag. If you work in the city, if you travel through the city quite often, always have some type of go bag with a kit of things that you could use during an urban survival situation, or any survival situation for that matter. But it's just good to have. Preparedness is the key. Not always are you going to have a go bag, but to be able to be self-reliant, you'll be able to think on your feet, maybe see things in your area that you could use to your advantage. So, I mean, that's another thing too. Being able to adaptability. Kind of blend in with your surroundings. Don't draw attention to yourself. We'll talk about this later on through the video, but being able to adapt to a situation, around your surroundings, things like that, that's a good attribute to have. And of course, don't cause any attention to yourself. I mean, just kind of go with the flow. Don't make eye contact with people that might look shifty. Just kind of, don't break off by yourself either. Try to move with the crowd if there is a riot or if people are looting. Kind of move with the crowd, but try not to get yourself hurt either. Because if you break away, somebody might get suspicious as well, and they'd be like, what's that guy doing? Self-defense. Now, a lot of people out there are trained in self-defense, or they might take a self-defense course. But a lot of times, if you can see your situation, look at your surroundings, you can find a makeshift weapon to use for self-defense. So that's another thing. Always be able to be aware and look at your surroundings, and you could probably defend yourself pretty well. And of course, the most important is being prepared for almost anything. And that goes back to the go bag. Now, like I said, you're not always going to have a go bag, but you're always going to be able to think on your feet. If you train yourself or go to a training class of some sort to be able to survive, it's all good. Just do your best to always be prepared if you can possibly be. In life, when it comes to a survival situation or any type of aspect, just being prepared is a good motto to have. And now we'll talk about some of the different tools a person could have with them if they travel with a go bag or an EDC bag. Just different types of tools, and a small crowbar is good to have. You can use it for a self-defense weapon. You can use it to break barriers, to get things out of your way. Also, a multi-tool is good to have. You can use the pliers of a multi-tool to cut fencing, any type of wire that might be in your way. You can use the knife blade, you can use the saw blade. The Phillips screwdriver in there probably could work out good for you. You never know. And then just a good knife, whether it be a pocket knife or some type of fixed blade knife. As long as you have a good knife, it's good to have in any survival situation, wilderness, urban, whatever. Maybe have some good work gloves and a dust mask in there. If you possibly can, you never know what type of particles might be flying through the air. A good dust mask could keep your respiratory system healthy. Work gloves will keep your hands from getting hurt. If you have to break glass or do something, I mean, you're not always going to have work gloves, but if you have a go bag, work gloves would be definitely in there in my book. Maybe a good can opener, just a manual can opener, because you never know, there'll always be some type of canned food in the city, especially if there's a riot breaking out, some kind of disaster. You ain't got no food. You can always open a can of food if you rub it on concrete for a while. I mean, I've seen that trick done. But if you have a manual can opener and it doesn't fail you, you'll always have another way, a decent way to open up a can of canned food. Of course, some type of metal spork or eating utensil would be good to have. You got to have something to eat that food with, right? And the most important tool, I think, to have in an urban survival go bag is what's called a Silcock key. And what it is pretty much a type of wrench with 4 different size areas to use at these water valves on commercial and industrial buildings to get access to water. Now, if there's still water in those tanks during a grid down situation or disaster situation, then a person would be able to get potable water out of those. As long as they have something to catch it in too, they have to have some type of container, but as long as you have one of those keys, you'll be able to access water pretty easily. And here's a picture of a Silcock key right here. Now comes the point where the true story comes into play. I told you at the beginning of the video, if you stay until the end, I'll have a true story, a real story to tell you. And 8 years ago, this week, is the anniversary of the 2012 tornado that hit the small town that I'm from, West Liberty, Kentucky. So March 2nd, 2020 made the 8-year anniversary of that, which was this past Monday. It was an EF3 tornado that had a swath a mile wide that went through the city. Now, mind you, where I live is a small town in eastern Kentucky. It's not a huge town, but it done major damage. And it had a swath, like I said, a mile wide. Many homes and businesses were destroyed. Almost every little home or business in the city had some type of damage. There were 6 killed and 75 injured. But since 2012, there's been much progress made in the town. A lot of businesses, a lot of places have been restored to their what they used to be, or we've built new back. And the city is thriving and surviving as we speak. And that's just a true story. I mean, you never would think that something like that would happen in a little small town like West Liberty. But the actual tornado started in counties far west from us, and it ended up all the way into West Virginia, that tornado itself. So it done a whole lot of damage. There was documents and different things that had fell from the sky in the town of West Virginia where the tornado actually ended up at and kind of dissipated and died down. Documents from our county, our city, people's check stubs and different things that floated down from the sky that people had gathered and found from that far away. So I mean, it was very devastating and tornado. But like I said, the town has built back since then. 8 years, and we're growing strong. And I'm very proud, very glad to be from this city, this area. And just a little true story for you, to let you know more about me and where I'm from and things that's happened in the area and how it pertains to what I've talked about with urban survival. I mean, there were probably people there. Now, I myself was at my home which is in the rural area of the county, and the tornado didn't do a whole lot of damage in my part of the woods. There was just some hail damage and some pretty strong wind, but the tornado devastated the city. I mean, tore down churches and tore down, you know, municipal buildings and different things, and you know, pretty much everything. Well, everything is built back, and we've even built new things back. So I mean, things are looking great. So there's a little true story for you. I got some pictures I'm going to show you right now of the devastation. And you see what I'm saying? You seen the damage done from the pictures, and you know there was, you know, that all that was aerial footage, but you could still see, you know, what it did, and it was crazy. Now here's some pictures of some things that have been rebuilt, brand new, that you know, that was destroyed during the tornado. Okay, there you have it. Some great pictures there of some buildings that were built back brand new. The commercial bank, the courthouse, the Methodist church. You know, that was about the only pictures I could find of the new buildings. But, you know, that gives you an idea of how things look in the city now. And like I said, we are bouncing back. And it's been 8 years, and, you know, you can't ask for anything more than that, than people pulling together to get things done. And that's pretty much how it was during that time in 2012 when we had the natural disaster of the EF3 tornado. Everybody pulled together and was a strong unit to get things done. Okay, so that kind of concludes the video. I hope you learned a little bit about urban survival as well as I did. You know, I learned quite a bit, a lot of things I didn't know. I want to take this moment right now to thank all my subscribers out there. As of right now, I got 161. You know, good job. Woo, yeah. So if you like this video, go ahead and give me a like, comment on it, give me a comment, watch my other videos, comment on them. You know, I got all kinds of great likes, great comments already on all my videos, and I'm thankful for that. Also, I have a Facebook page, if you can find it out there, Frontier Survival. You can like and follow me on there, and you can also follow me on Instagram. I'm right there too. It's Frontier Survival 1974. And, you know, just continue to like my videos, comment on them, subscribe to my channel, you know, and we'll continue to grow and learn as you do. And remember, you got to have drive to survive. Thank you very much.